A group of BLM protesters at the University of Buffalo attempting to shut down an event with former Congressman and former chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, Allen West. The group later confronted a videographer and also the former congressman in the process. Our next guest actually organized this event, the president of Young Americans for Freedom and student at the University of Buffalo, Therese Purcell. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for coming on today. Tell me about what happened at college during this planned speaking event with the Lieutenant Colonel Allen West.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on. So my group was hosting Colonel Allen West. He gave a speech at our college, and then we had a Q&A and meet and greet after. Starting at 2 o'clock that day, protests started at our school. There were hundreds of students running around school protesting. There was lots of yelling and screaming. They actually disrupted classes. And then at the time for the speech, many students came out to see it. We had an overwhelming popular response to it. We filled the capacity very quickly and had hundreds of people waiting, trying to get in. He gave a speech. It was a really good speech on how America is not racist and why American values are exceptional. And then it started to really get out of hand in the Q&A with the protesters. And from there, the police escorted us to a private meet and greet where the protesters were banging on the doors and screaming no peace, trying to get in, which was where it started to get pretty scary. And from there, the police escorted us out, and they were all up with Allen West, as I was worried about his safety since there were hundreds of protesters screaming things like no peace, and I took them at face value that they probably didn't want peace. So I was right behind the police following them, but within a few seconds I was quickly separated from them and surrounded by protesters. So I decided I was just gonna walk away peacefully to my car. And as soon as I took like a few steps the opposite direction, I realized that I was their target, and they all started running after me and screaming things like, go get her, she's running that way, go get the girl in the red dress, capture her. And from there, they started to sprint after me, and I ran into a classroom building and was running up the stairs, and they were just like a second or two behind me, which is when one of my friends pulled me into the men's bathroom, and the mob just kept running, trying to find me, screaming, where is she? We need to get her. We need to find her. They actually chased after the rest of our group. They harassed and physically assaulted one of our e-board members. They kicked him and punched him. So overall, it was a very scary experience, and they didn't seem to respect freedom of speech.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. That sounds absolutely terrible. Again, you were organizing this event on college campus. Was it open to the public or open to students on campus?
It was open to all students on campus as well as the public.
Sure. Have you ever seen something like this before? I'm sure colleges, they invite a lot of guest speakers on, or groups like your own would host people for the night. Has it ever been like this before?
I've never seen anything like this. No, I expected that maybe there could be like a little bit of a protest because people hung up signs around campus the day of saying they were going to protest. So that wouldn't have shocked me. Never in my wildest imagination, though, did I think it would be this level of protest and that they would turn violent.
Right. Have you heard from administration officials, anyone from the university?
The response overall from the university has been pretty underwhelming. Me and a few of my members still don't feel very safe on campus since we've received some social media doxing and things like that. So unfortunately, I wish the university would take more action quickly.
What did you hear from Allen West? Did he anticipate this sort of response?
I don't think he anticipated this either. I think none of us really thought that it would get this out of hand. We actually devoted like half of the event to an open Q&A where people who disagreed could come and we could have an open dialogue, open discussion. We were hoping that people who disagreed would come to the talk to discuss it with us, but unfortunately they didn't do that peacefully. They became very rude in the Q&A, and then eventually it turned violent. But Allen West actually came on Newsmax the other night and talked about it with me, and is on our side and thinks that there needs to be action taken against the people who did this.
Well, we thank you for coming on again with us this morning, Therese, and telling your side of it. Therese Purcell joining us on the program. Thank you.